Chapter 1. The call to adventure. In the heart of a sprawling metropolis, gleaming under the golden rays of a morning sun, sat the Zenith Space Exploration Center. Known worldwide for its groundbreaking technology and visionary research, it buzzed with the excitement of innovation and discovery. But on this day, the center became a hive of activity and anticipation, for a remarkable event was unfolding inside its high-tech walls. Mary-Kate, a brilliant astrophysicist with a passion for black holes, peered through the glass walls of the operations room. With her sharp, hazel eyes and tousled brown hair pulled back into a ponytail, she was an embodiment of focus and determination. Next to her stood Ashley, a pragmatic engineer known for her problem-solving skills and quick wit. Her amber-colored hair, cropped into a stylish bob, framed a face that radiated an infectious enthusiasm. Together, they were awaiting the arrival of their team for a critical mission. This team included Caitlin, a biologist who thrived on exploration and discovery, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Then there was Paige, a geologist whose affinity for rock formations often sparked her desire to travel beyond Earth's boundaries. Lastly, there was Brad, the team's unlikely leader. A somewhat clumsy but endearing pilot who often compared his flying skills to his favorite old sci-fi movies. Under the bright lights of the auditorium, family, associates, and luminaries gathered for a farewell celebration. Mary-Kate felt a mixture of pride and unease swell in her chest as she observed the enthusiastic crowd. While they were excited for the mission, there was also a palpable tension that hung thick in the air. The heartfelt acknowledgement of risks they might face in the endless void of space. Today marks the beginning of something extraordinary. Drive. Helen, the expedition director, announced, her voice echoing off the walls adorned with digital screens showcasing the team's previous successes. We have managed to detect an intriguing phenomenon. A series of strange sounds that seem to permeate a distant quadrant in space. Our mission is to investigate these echoes and uncover their mysteries. The audience responded with deafening applause, while Mary-Kate's heart raced at the prospect of exploring the unknown. It wasn't just the excitement of being part of a pioneering journey. It was the chance to challenge her intellect and foster bonds with her team. Amid the cheers, Brad, feeling the pressure of leadership, stepped forward. "Thank you all. I promise we will do everything in our power to ensure a successful mission," he stammered, nervously adjusting his glasses. The crowd chuckled, lightening the mood despite the severity of their endeavor. As the final speeches concluded, the team made their way to the reception area, where friends and family offered hugs, well wishes, and tearful goodbyes. Mary-Kate found herself enveloped in her mother's arms. "Be careful, sweetheart. Remember, home is always here," her mother whispered, looking into her daughter's resolute eyes. "I will, Mom. I'm ready for this," Mary-Kate assured her, returning the embrace with affection. She felt the weight of responsibility resting on her shoulders and the bittersweet taste of departure. Once the celebratory hullabaloo echoed into memories, the team gathered in a secluded corner. "This isn't a farewell. It is just the beginning," Caitlin said, her voice firm yet inspiring. "We have the opportunity to make history." With final glances at their loved ones, they took their places among the advanced equipment and spacecraft awaiting them. There, surrounded by the tools of their trade, the uncertainty of space loomed large, eliciting both fear and exhilaration. As the countdown began, Mary-Kate, Ashley, Caitlin, Paige, and Brad glanced at each other, a shared understanding resonating among them. They were stepping into the unknown, but together, they would face whatever came next. With a rumble in their chests and a firm resolve, they embraced the adventure ahead, ready to decipher the echoes among the stars and perhaps discover more than they ever imagined. In those final moments, stepping into the ship, they knew that every single sound and sight from their forward would define not only their mission but their lives, creating an indelible mark in the fabric of the cosmos. Journey amidst the stars. As the countdown clock ticked down to 0, excitement crackled in the air of the launch bay like static electricity. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, the scent of polished metal and diesel comprehensive, flooding her senses. Just a few months ago, this moment was unthinkable, but now, here she was, standing shoulder to shoulder with her team. Ashley, Caitlin, Paige, and their unlikely leader, Brad. All of them were keen and ready, hearts racing with anticipation of the adventure ahead, and all too aware of the stakes involved. 3. The voice of the lead technician echoed through the cramped launch bay, drawing their attention back from their thoughts. The atmosphere shifted, filled with a palpable energy, excitement dampened only by an undercurrent of concern for the unknown. 2. The team exchanged glances, the thrill palpable in their eyes. 1. With that, the engines roared to life beneath them, vibrating through their bones, almost as if echoing the very spirit of exploration they embodied. Ignition. The craft blasted off into the void of space, its engines roaring like a rampaging beast, with flames reflecting in the gleaming helmets of their space suits. The ship, a high-tech marvel named Polaris, was not just a vessel but an extension of their ambitions and dreams. As the Earth receded into a blue orb, a sense of wonder enveloped them, buoyed by the sight of shimmering stars ahead. They were on the brink of the incredible, plunging into the great unknown. Through the ship's viewing panel, they watched their home world shrink. Hours passed as they rocketed through the black velvet of space. With every passing moment, the stars blinked above as countless memories of famous discoveries danced in their heads. To some, they were mere dots, but to this team, they were celestial beacons, offering promises of galaxies yet unexplored. Suddenly, a loud thud reverberated through the cockpit, jolting everyone from their reverie. "What was that?" Paige shouted, her voice a pitch higher than normal as she scrambled to her station. "Asteroid field ahead," Caitlin warned, her head buried in the ship's navigation panel, scanning for a route through the calamity of cosmic debris that swirled a few clicks ahead. Land of mystery. The stars above twinkled with the brilliance that only deep space could offer, yet as the crew of the SS Celestial Dawn descended toward the unknown planet, apprehension prickled at the napes of their necks. Brad, their unlikely captain, kept a firm grip on the controls, his demeanor a perfect mix of focus and excitement. Initiating landing sequence. Prepare for descent. His voice crackled through the intercom, laced with the anticipation of the adventure that lay ahead. As the ship touched down, the crew gazed out the viewport at the unfamiliar landscape sprawled before them. The terrain was adorned with crystalline formations jutting from the ground like alien sentinels. Deep canyons wound through iridescent hills, while the sky above shimmered in hues of teal and purple. It was an artist's palette, offering an eerie beauty that lured the team with its mysteries. "First things first, we need to get suited up," Mary-Kate said, her voice stepping through the tense air with authority. With nods of agreement, they donned their high-tech space suits, satiny and white but adorned with smart technology that gleamed as they moved. There was a sense of camaraderie among them, an unspoken bond that had formed during their training at the Exploration Center. They had faced countless simulations together. Now they were standing on the cusp of a real frontier. Once outside, the crew took their first steps onto the foreign soil, crunching underfoot with a sound reminiscent of snow. Caitlin, who had a knack for observation, knelt beside what seemed like an artifact half buried in the soil. Her gloved hands carefully brushed away the dirt, revealing an intricately carved stone glyph. "Guys, check this out," she called, her voice echoing with curiously suppressed excitement. The team gathering around Caitlin like moths drawn to a flickering light, each captivated by the unspoken promise of the discovery. The glyph glimmered as the sun brushed against it, the symbols swirling like a language just waiting to be deciphered. What do you think it means? Ashley mused, her brow furrowed in thought. She leaned closer, taking in every detail, her scientific mind racing through possibilities. I'd wager it belongs to whatever civilization was here, Paige replied, adjusting her visor to let in more light. If we can analyze these symbols further, we might learn about their history. But as excitement mounted, so did the unease in the air. The ship's AI, an upbeat voice named Ivy, interrupted their fervor, cautioning them about the remnants of technology nearby. Scans indicate a high concentration of unprocessed resources in this area. Caution is advised, crew. They fell silent, the gravity of Ivy's words sinking in. Mysterious sounds had been detected throughout their journey, strange echoes signaling toward unseen phenomena. What had they stumbled upon? The thrill of exploration suddenly blurred with the shadow of the unknown. Mary-Kate put her hands on her hips, her leadership rallying the group. All right, team, it is time to divide into pairs. Let's gather as much data as possible around this area. Keep your communication open at all times. With rekindled resolve, they spread out, but there was an unmistakable shift in the air. Ashley and Paige wandered further across the rocky terrain, captivated by a series of ornate structures that partially emerged from beneath the soil. As they documented their surroundings, Ashley suddenly gasped. Paige. Over here. Before long, Ashley held a translucent object, a small orb that glittered like stardust. It's beautiful. What is it? Paige leaned in closer, a mix of awe and skepticism in her eyes. Could it be a data storage capsule of some sort? Excitement bubbled between them, and as they began to assess the significance of their discovery, feeling deep curiosity steal over their senses. Little did they know, their fleeting moments of intrigue would soon lead to revelations beyond their wildest imaginations, reshaping the very fabric of their mission. One that could define their fate in this uncharted land. As the sun set behind the alien horizon, darkness shrouded the planet, dawning a new challenge for the team. Whispers filled the air, echoing secrets that may alter the course of their journey forever. Each glimmering star overhead seemed to remind them of the infinite discoveries still waiting to be uncovered. The unveiling of truths. The air was heavy inside the transport ship, as the crew gathered in the observation deck, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the galactic panorama sprawling beyond the ship's windows. Mary-Kate leaned against the control panel, reviewing the latest data they had gathered from their exploration of the strange planet. An array of alien glyphs, glowing with an unearthly light, flickered on display. Each symbol danced with mystery, beckoning for someone. Anyone. To unlock their secrets. Look at this. Brad exclaimed, his voice laced with excitement yet tempered by the weight of their discoveries. The artifact arrays we found seem to be connected. They're more than just remnants. They might actually be mapping structures across the cosmos. He adjusted his glasses and focused on the holographic readouts. His enthusiasm was contagious, yet it stood juxtaposed against the creeping unease simmering in the background. Ashley approached him, her brow knitted in concentration. But what if this is what caused the disturbances we've been detecting? If these are part of a network that spans across the galaxy? She trailed off, the implications hanging heavily in the air. That would mean, Caitlin interjected, crossing her arms over her chest, that we're not just observing something left behind. We're standing at the threshold of something bigger. The team was feeling the mounting pressure. The once thrilling sense of adventure was becoming shadowed by uncertainty. Alien powers. Translatable communication. Had begun to echo in their minds, intangible yet suffocating all the same. Not to mention the power surges we've been experiencing, Paige added, her fingers tapping anxiously on the console. They seem to coincide with our interactions with the artifacts. It's almost like they're reacting to us. Suddenly, an alarm blared, cutting through their deliberation. The ship's AI chimed in, warning. Power systems in critical condition. Recommend immediate assessment of navigational integrity. The lights flickered ominously, and for a moment, panic swept through the crew. We need to stabilize the ship before we can continue, Caitlin called out, quickly regaining her composure. The others turned to her, realizing that decisions had to be made swiftly if they were to survive. Brad, you take point on reconciling the data from the artifacts. Ashley and I will handle the engineering assessments. As the team spread out, a measure of latent fear crept into their hearts. The earlier thrill evaporated, now replaced by the daunting task of deciphering a language that had begun to resonate in the empty corridors of their minds. An echo of something extraterrestrial. Do you think we're prepared for whatever is about to come? Ashley whispered to Caitlin as they worked side by side, repairing the malfunctioning circuits that crackled ominously in front of them. I think that's what this is all about, Caitlin replied resolutely. We've come too far to turn back now. Her voice steadied Ashley even as they faced uncertainty. They were explorers. The very definition of brave resilience in the face of the unknown, charged by the desire to rescue what strands of knowledge existed among the stars. The power grid began to stabilize, albeit with a flickering brightness that mirrored their own uncertainty. Amidst the chaos, a realization started to unfold amongst the crew. Their findings weren't just historical remnants. They were echoes, leaders from the past, now intertwining their fates with the present. Fascinating, Brad muttered, leaning back to observe the blips of light as they began to sync in rhythm like a heartbeat. It's as though they're alive. We're tapping into something sacred here. Caitlin, catching the gravity of his tone, felt the pressure shift once again. The burden of knowledge weighed heavier. If we take this further, we need to make sure we're ready for whatever it may reveal. It could mean operation constraints that we haven't even anticipated. Or we could be on the edge of unveiling truths about our universe that nobody has dared to discover, Paige chimed in, presenting the other side of the coin. There was a flicker of hope in her eyes, igniting that sense of adventure once more. They moved in unison, not simply as colleagues but as pioneers fueled by inquiry and camaraderie, melding joy and dread as they prepared to conquer the next cosmic mysteries. The ship's hum transformed into a thrumming pulse, resonating with the echoes of myriad possibilities, entangling their future with the shadows of the past. As they aligned their wills for the discovery ahead, the journey morphed into a rallying of spirits. An essence of coexistence they hadn't expected. Deep space awaited, and amid the tough tide of challenges, the team pressed forward together, ever closer to the unveiling of shadowy truths that could alter their perceptions of the universe entirely. Echoes of coexistence. The tension within the crew had reached a tipping point, palpable in the air like the static before a storm. Deep within the Zarya's central module, the disarray created by the recent power outages still haunted their operations. The once bright interface of the ship's controls was now occasionally flickering like a heartbeat too slow. Caitlin had taken it upon herself to assume a leadership role more definitively, and in the cramped quarters of their command center, she gathered the team together, her eyes fixed and earnest. "Okay, team, listen up," she said, her voice steady yet firm. "The echoes we've heard, they're not just sounds. They feel like messages. We need to decode them." A flick of her wrist unveiled the vibrant holographic interface before them, projecting the swirling patterns of data collected over the last few days. As they delved into the investigation, the terminology began shifting from strange occurrences to intergalactic signs, framed with implications of sentience that filled the room with awe and trepidation. Ashley leaned against her workstation, tapping her chin thoughtfully. If they are trying to communicate with us, then we need to understand their intent. Dialogues of some sort must exist. Maybe they want something. Or maybe they're warning us, Paige interjected, a frown creasing her brow. An ambiguous silence followed her suggestion, hanging heavily between them. The thought lingered. What if the echoes heralded a deeper warning about their presence in this mysterious part of space? At that moment, the ship's AI, affectionately dubbed Echo, projected yet another wave of data across the room, its perky digitized voice cutting across their anxiety. Analyzing sound waves. Predictive models suggest rhythmic patterns akin to those used in rudimentary forms of communication. As Caitlin turned towards Echo, a mix of annoyance and flattery swept over her. It was often hard to remember that this AI, though designed with an interface to entertain, was also their most astute analyst. Echo, can you isolate the frequency of those sounds? Is there a discernible pattern or potential meaning? Affirmative. Compiling data now, the AI replied, its voice smooth and devoid of the weight of emotional strain that burdened the organic crew members. As Echo worked, Brad stood aside with arms crossed, his posture stiff, a manifestation of his territorial instincts being encroached on by both the unknown and the intelligences in his own crew. Listen, Caitlin, he said, anxiety creeping into his tone, we're venturing into some serious territories. What if they don't want us here? Or maybe we can help, she responded with defiance, catching the weight of his worried gaze. The trust she had built with her team over the last few weeks bolstered her resolve as she countered his doubtful outlook. Whatever these echoes are, we owe it to ourselves and them to explore this. It was in those words that the pivot of their focus shifted. A storyline unfolded wherein acknowledgement of their potential roles as messengers in this vast universe stood uniquely within their grasp. They were explorers, yet here lay the chance to bridge the endless chasm of silence that had reigned throughout the galaxy. As further discussions unfolded, strategies materialized, intertwining teamwork with creativity. Caitlin and Ashley devised plans to send out sound waves back to the source, mirroring the unique rhythm of the echoes they had recorded. Paige gathered their equipment, her usual scatterbrain tendencies refining into laser-like focus, a burning desire to uncover the truth eclipsing her doubts. The weight of their endeavor began to turn their individual anxieties into a unifying belief. They weren't just adventurers anymore. They were co-creators within the cosmic tapestry of existence. The thought resonated even with Brad, who tentatively thawed from his protective stance as he contributed crucial navigational insights. Let's do this. Together, he finally stated, a measure of resolve anchoring his voice amidst their growing collective aspirations. The echoes of potential reverberated within the walls of the Zarya, turning a clash of fears into a newfound rhythm of cooperation. In the moments that followed, as they prepared to send back their response to the cosmic symphony around them, they shared a brief understanding that no matter what lurked in this subdued galaxy, their unity rendered them guardians of dreams yet fulfilled. Together, they would echo through this expanse, leaving behind their fears to transform them into experiences that would illuminate paths both for themselves and for celestial beings who watched from beyond. Return and reflection. The atmosphere within the ship shifted from one of triumph to reflective solemnity as the crew members prepared for their return to Earth. With their mission nearly complete, a sense of impending normalcy lay over them like a soft blanket, yet the weight of their cosmic discoveries lingered like a ghost in the background. They had faced the unknown, encountered beautiful cosmic specters, and deciphered whispers from the stars. However, now they were tasked with the intimate challenge of reconciling their newfound knowledge with the lives they would return to. The ship's engines hummed as they began their re-entry sequence, and the familiar sights of their home planet grew larger in the viewport. Brad, with his usually energetic demeanor, spoke softly, "Prepare for landing, team." Let's bring the treasure of our knowledge back home. The balance of their mission lay not just in the data they collected, but in the personal growth each experienced throughout their journey. As they disembarked, cheers erupted from the gathered crowd at the Space Center. Friends, family, and countless associates greeted them with celebration. Mary-Kate, with tears in her eyes, sought out her younger sister, rushing into her arms, knowing the gravity of what they had collectively achieved. "We did it, we really did," she exclaimed, feeling the warmth of support wrapping around her. As Ashley clung to Paige, they exchanged a knowing glance. The shared moments of discovery and fear had written a new chapter in their friendship. "Do you think we'll ever find out more about those artifacts?" Ashley murmured. Paige squeezed her shoulder, her eyes gleaming with understanding. "I hope so. We've only scratched the surface of what's out there." Meanwhile, Caitlin stood at a distance, taking in the scene. She pulled out her journal, ready to capture the essence of every detail that flooded her mind. The memories of the luminescent landscapes and the eerie echoes danced across the pages as she wrote. Each note became a reminder of their cosmic journey, filled with the unexplainable wonders they had encountered. As the crowd slowly began to disperse, the team gathered one last time near the ship. A solemnity formed as they shared their final thoughts about their mission. "We may have returned, but the echoes of what we've discovered will stay with us forever," Caitlin said, glancing up at the stars beginning to twinkle in the evening sky. The conversation turned to the nature of exploration, prompted by Caitlin's reflections. "What does it mean for us to explore space if we're still wrestling with the echoes of our own existence?" Paige's question hung in the air. "Perhaps it means we have a greater responsibility now. To carry forward our knowledge, but also our empathy and understanding of each other," Brad responded. His voice carried the wisdom that had grown within him throughout their adventure. Each member of the team nodded, recognizing that their journey pushed the boundaries of human capability but also deepened their connections with one another. As they made their way back to their respective lives, an unspoken agreement lingered in the air. They would continue to explore. Together or separately, the echoes of their experiences would guide their efforts in navigating both cosmic and terrestrial challenges. "Let's keep in touch. There's much to discuss and plan for the next journey, don't you think?" Mary-Kate suggested, already devising future collaborations in her mind. The team exchanged promises, affirming their desire to unravel the infinite mysteries ahead, inspired by what lay beneath the starlit sky. As the crew departed one by one, Caitlin took one last look at the night sky, reminded that the echoes of the universe remained active. Millions of stars twinkled back at her, their light a beckoning call for future explorations. She knew this journey was but the beginning. An open-ended permission slip for the wonders yet to come. Inspiration blossomed within her, and in that moment, she felt the universe whispering. The adventure had just begun. Echoes untethered as the sun dipped below the horizon and cast brilliant hues across the sprawling field behind the expansive Space Exploration Center. Excitement buzzed through the air as Caitlin, Paige, Ashley, Mary-Kate, and Brad gathered in the main auditorium for their welcome-back reception. The walls were adorned with banners reading, "Welcome home, Galactic Explorers," while a backdrop of shimmering stars set the mood for the evening. Laughter and heartfelt chatter filled the room as family, friends, and fellow scientists came together to honor their incredible journey. After departing from the ship, adorned with scuffs and scratches from their exhilarating adventure, the team stepped into the warmth of familiarity. Yet amidst the joyful celebration, a bittersweet pang lingered in Caitlin's chest. Each applause felt heavier, a reminder of the mysteries they unveiled but also left unsolved. Mary-Kate was the first to react, her infectious smile drawing everyone in. "Can you believe we just traveled to an alien world?" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. And those artifacts. I mean, what if they hold secrets that can change everything we know about the universe? Ashley, placing her hands on her hips playfully, chimed in, let's not forget the cosmic messages we encountered. We might have discovered languages that could connect us beyond our wildest dreams. Her words hit a collective nerve, prompting nods of agreement among the team. The experience was thrilling, but it was tempered by the enigmatic echoes that reverberated deep within their minds. Paige stepped forward, her brows slightly furrowed. It feels like we've only scratched the surface of something monumental, doesn't it? The mysteries still loom ahead, like a thread we've yet to pull. Her words instantly sobered the atmosphere. The room fell quiet, thoughts drifting to the echoes that once haunted the corridors of their minds. The echoes could still be felt. The impressions of an alien civilization tantalizingly close but just beyond reach. Something stirred within Caitlin then. An urge to capture the essence of this expedition not only for posterity but also as a beacon for future explorers. As the evening unfolded, Caitlin found herself drawing deeper into reflection. She decided it was time to share her thoughts. Standing on a makeshift podium, she quietly cleared her throat, drawing the attention of her comrades and the crowd. I want to express something that's been swirling in my mind since we landed. Our journey has given us a glimpse into the cosmic tapestry that binds us with every star and planet. The artifacts we found, they are not just objects. They are echoes of a civilization that once thrived. We owe it to them. And to ourselves. To explore these mysteries further. I plan on writing everything down. I want to create a journal that documents not just our facts and findings, but the feelings and thoughts we've encountered in our quest. This will serve as a guide for future explorers, to remind them that what we seek in the universe may extend far beyond mere discoveries. We intertwine with the cosmos, and each echo we uncover tells a story that we are a part of. As her fervor sparked admiration in the room, empathy bridged the gap between their tentative pride and the struggles that lay ahead. Caught between joy and the unknown, they realized their journey was only just beginning. Echoes resonated not just in space, but now within their hearts. They whispered of possibilities yet to be explored. After Caitlin concluded her speech, applause erupted around the room, but it was laced with a new understanding. Each member felt the weight of their individual reflections. They were no longer just explorers of the universe but also ambassadors of hope, resilience, and curiosity. They would not merely return to continue life as it was but would continue to cultivate their relationship with the universe itself. The celebration soon transformed into conversations filled with excitement about future missions, this time laden with the intent of forging connections and exploring the symbiosis between humankind and the celestial realm. As the night waned, a quiet yet profound transformation settled among them. The echoes of their adventure blended seamlessly with aspirations for a journey that lay ahead, forever intertwined with the infinite mysteries of the stars.